You will never amount to anything.
We shall see, brother.
What's going on, YouTubers? This is Zen from Zen World, and I hope you're having a great day. So, team, let me tell you something. Tom Taylor, and I've said this already, he is a great comic book writer. So, we are reviewing today Deceased Dead Planet, which just premiered recently. And it is the continuation, the direct sequel to the Deceased comic books. So if you haven't read the Deceased comic books, then I would suggest you to go out and read it because I'm going to be doing a lot of spoilers of sorts for this comic book. So the beginning of the book just kind of sees the death of many of Earth's superheroes for Earth One, right? And I'm saying Earth One for a specific reason itself, right? So we see the likes of and when I say death, I what I really mean is their transformation through the process of anti life based virus, right? And what happened was basically there was a corruption through the anti-life virus that was spread to Cyborg, and then when he came back to the planet, it was spread through technological systems that had screens, right? Screens such as a computer or a cell phone and things of that nature, right? And it caused many of our superheroes to basically be transformed into these anti-life equation based zombie like characters, right? So for example, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and other characters. If you read the Deceased Hope at World's End's book, right, which it was the tie-in to it to kind of explain the gravity of what's happening, and to other characters that we did not see in the normal continuity of the Deceased books, right? So we see them in the beginning, but then we see, and I'm saying see a lot, we get a chance to see Earth's new Justice League, which was the escapees that left the planet in order to live, essentially, right? To thrive, right? That's what we do as humans. We thrive and we live. And one of them is Jonathan Kent, and we see Damian Wayne, and they're older because there's a 5 year time skip, right? So they're older. And one of the cool things is that we kind of get a glimpse into how they'll become when they're older. Jonathan takes over the mantle of Superman, and Damian Wayne takes over the mantle of Batman, right? And they do things in their own way, and it's really cool because the way they communicate with each other is like they're best friends, right? And they make these little snarky jokes a little bit, right? And Damien's like, "Oh, you have super hearing, right?" But it's in the way that Damien would normally make it, which he would make these type of jokes in Super Sons, right? If you read the Super Sons type comic books, and what him and the rest of the team with are doing are basically they're in an intergalactic war, which sounds really big, right? Because it is really big, and basically they basically what happens is they do come to an agreement, and it's really cool because Lois Lane, she's the president of Earth 2, right? And when I say Earth 2, Earth 2 isn't like the alternate dimension or the alternate part of the multiverse Earth 2. It's just another version of Earth, right? It's the second version of Earth because of the original. What happened in the original story of Deceased is basically everything went to pots, right? Everything is just like it. No one's going back to that planet, basically. And uh, but basically later on, as we're transitioning, Cyborg, his head was decapitated in the previous storyline of Deceased by Wonder Woman, right? And but his functionality was still able to use some type of communication. So throughout the 5 year time period, he was able to send a SOS, right? And it finally reached the heroes of Earth 2, the new Justice League. And basically the communication in itself just basically had JL, right? JL. And any of the Justice League members would know that it meant Justice League. It's a SOS for the Justice League to come and help, right? So they kind of vote. They vote with the likes of Green Arrow and Dinah Lance, the new Wonder Woman as well, and they're deciding what should they do. So uh, the vote basically came down like we're gonna go help our team, right? We're gonna go help Cyborg, and they make their way to the planet. And what's really cool is that you see Kilowog, right? Because there's a lot of Green Lanterns who are just basically protecting different sectors or observing different sectors, right? And when they come there, he's like, "You guys better be careful, you poozers," right? The normal terminology that Kilowog would use. And based on that, what happens is they're saying like, "Why are you here?" And then he was like, "What do you mean? Like your son is your dad is still eating the sun, basically, right?" And this is a throwback because when Superman was turned, they couldn't beat him, right? And he basically just went crazy and flew into the sun as this anti-life equation based zombie, right? And if anyone who knows him going into the sun, if you understand the concept of the Superman 1 million, basically he went into the sun for millions of years and basically absorbed the essence of the sun and came out super powerful. So I'm not too sure if this is going to be a prelude into him becoming the ultimate bad guy of sorts, right? But he's basically still absorbing the sun, right? He's been doing that for the last 5 years, and he's just there, right? So we get a quick scene of him, basically a silhouette, a solar silhouette of sorts, eating the sun, right, or absorbing the sun. And they go down to Earth and they see the head of Cyborg and they try to communicate and they're like, we don't know if we should do this. But then you get another communication, right? A single syllable, a single letter saying R, 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 R. And we're probably like, well, like, what does that mean? And he's basically, we're led to believe that it means run, right? Because if you read Deceased World at World's End, you'll notice that there are a lot. Black Adam is kind of like the leader of the team, and also Wonder Woman is still there too, right? And not the leader of the team of sorts for like Black Adam, but he's kind of like he's flying with the horde, right? The horde of anti-life equation viruses. And while a lot of books have a hard time doing doppelganger or like zombie based versions of characters, this book does not do that, right? Because from Deceased all the way up to Dead Planet, the writing has been immaculate, right? Immaculate in terms of the storytelling. There hasn't been one time that I've said, well, this book deserves probably a 6 out of 10, or a 7 out of 10, or an 8 out of 10, or a 9 out of 10. Maybe a 9 out of 10 for a couple of them. But I'm skipping and I'm ranting because the book was so amazing. And and then he's like, eventually, Cyborg's form of communication starts to become syllables and it becomes whole world words, right? And then he's basically saying she's always here, right? And then the next panel we see Wonder Woman, right? And Wonder Woman in her anti-life equation, she's definitely a scary sight, right? She's a sight to behold in terms of her just thrashing everything. So she comes over, and one of the first things she does, easily, she snaps the neck. She snaps the neck of Green Arrow and basically infects him, right? And Dinah Lance, and as you guys know, if you read comic books, Dinah Lance and Green Arrow have had a relationship of sorts, kind of like one of those challenging based relationships, but one that you know and respected throughout the comic book years, right? That's what they do, right? And Dinah Lance goes crazy. She uses her canary scream, and as you know, in this iteration of the comic books of storytelling, she's also a Green Lantern. She took over the Green Lantern ring, right? And because Hal Jordan was transformed in the previous Deceased story, into an anti-life equation um, based zombie, right? And I'm using the term zombie just to bridge some kind of clarity into uh, the understanding and of imagination of what's going on, since I'm not using a lot of panels, right, for to protect the video, right, from copyright and things of that nature. And I'm ranting a little bit now, but going back to the story itself, uh, before Dinah Lance is able to really use her sword to, because she does use a sword, right? Which is pretty cool. You have to go out and read. And before she uses her sword on him, she, um, sh Wonder Woman is not protected, but she's Jonathan Kent jumps in the way and he gets stabbed too. and she gets stabbed at the same time, right? Not Dinah Lance, but Wonder Woman. So they have like a dual stabbing, right? It goes through Jonathan and then goes through Wonder Woman, just to give you a little bit of clarity. And Jonathan, this final panel lets you know that they can be cured, right? And we knew that from deceased stories from before, that there was a cure to this anti-life equation based virus. But that's what he basically says to her, is that they can be cured. We were wrong. They can be cured. There is a cure, right? And my assumption is that Cyborg let them know that through the process of the storytelling within those last couple of pages for the book. So what am I going to give this book? A 10 out of 10. Why am I giving it a 10 out of 10? Storytelling, artwork was amazing. And really I'm going for the writing, right? The writing was amazing in terms of continuation from where it was before, from Deceased, at World's Ends, all of those side stories that led into Deceased, Dead Planet, which is the direct sequel to Deceased. And if you wanted me to see me do continuous reviews on the next book, let me know, and drop that like button so that I know that folks are watching. I'm seeing the views, but I'm not seeing the likes that really kind of tell. And I think a lot of people are just watching the videos, but then they're forgetting to do that like button. So with that being said, this is Zen from Zen World saying peace, love, and prosperity. If you're enjoying my content, drop me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video with like-minded people, and I'll catch you all later for the next video. Take care, everyone.